Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Greensboro Downtown Yoga. I'm Summer with today's slow flow class. All week we've been focusing on this idea of being bold while we explore arm integration through different arm balances and that deep core activation that we need to really get up into our arm balances. So with slow flow today, we're going to take the chance to release some of that tension, some of that stress that we've been building in those big, powerful classes. And we're going to work through some front body stretches and some good rotation. So this is a lovely class that's going to slow you down a little bit while helping you go on a mind journey of boldness. You will need 2 blocks for today's class. If you don't have a block available to you, that's okay. Feel free to grab something like a book for some height, or a lot of it's there's gonna be some times where we wanna squeeze into something, so a pillow can work really well, or if you have available a squishy ball. Take a quick second to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and let's get going lying on your back on your mat. On your back, your eyes closed, allow your arms to come by your side. Feet are flat on the floor. Take your feet wide so your knees fall in and touch each other. Relax your mind. Some days the hardest thing that we do is try to find calmness in our mind. But today, as we move and we practice, we have the opportunity to be bold, to go on a journey out of your to-do lists and into what matters most to you. What does the word bold mean to you? Robert Frost says freedom lies in being bold. How does that apply to your version of being bold? What does boldness and movement, exploration mean? These are some of the thoughts, some of the questions that we will move through today. Allow your arms to open up wide to the sides, palms face up. Knees fall over to one side. Look over to the opposite shoulder. Notice in your body, are there areas that are talking to you right now? Is your side body saying hello? Is your back waking up? Are you holding tension anywhere? Or can you make a small adjustment that allows this to be a place of comfort and ease? Bring your knees into center. Allow your legs to reach to the other side as you look over the opposite shoulder. Notice again your body. How is this side different or the same as the other? Bring your legs back to center. Place your feet flat on the floor. Turn your attention to your breath. Place a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly. And just notice the rise and fall. Use our breath today as a guide. It will help control our movements, but also give us the space to go through it a little bigger. We can find three-dimensional breath, which means the front, the sides, and our back fill with air. When we work into twists, you'll find calmness. Hands come by your side. Tip your pelvis so it comes forward. You'll find this arch in your back. And then tip your pelvis down so that your back is on the floor. We're tipping forward and backwards like you have a bowl. Your pelvis is this bowl. In the world of Pilates, we refer to this as neutral pelvis and imprint. So neutral is when we have this space between the back and the floor. Imprint is when we press down into the mat. Let's do that just a few more times. Imprint is the idea of being able to use our abdominal muscles, our back, to really get control of our movements. Hold the next one with imprint. Take one of your blocks and place it in between your inner thighs. You may want to adjust your feet so they're a little bit closer to your hips. As you push into the block, feel this kind of up and around. I don't know if you can really see how my legs do that, but it's like, whoop, I go up and around. And then I lift hips to the sky. And now one vertebrae at a time, starting with the top of your back, roll down to the floor. Do that again. Press up. This is a great way to find here at the very beginning some ways to integrate our legs, our adductors, those muscles on the inside of our legs, to help assist our abdominal muscles to really integrate movements together. And as I said, even though today we're not going to do big arm balancing movements, the more that we can work to strengthen the center and understand what it feels like to have that integration, the better we'll become at being able to do some of those bigger moves. One more time, feel that push to the sky, the integration of the press into the block. Roll back down. As you come down, release the block from in between your thighs. Take your knees over to one side again. Notice if there's any change in your body. Come into center. Go to the other side. Notice how your shoulders touch the floor. Return to center. You're going to take the block underneath one foot. Let's all place it under our right foot. I'm lucky enough to have little feet that being on top of the block is about even. If you have a bigger foot, just make sure that you kind of center your foot in that block. Press down into the block as you lift your hips high to the sky. And lower back down. Can you find that same wrapping feeling, that same engagement of your inner thighs as you're now in this biased position, meaning we have one leg higher than the other? You might feel a little bit more activation into that right glute cheek. Hold this next one at the top. Lift your left leg to tabletop. Lift your hips just a little bit higher. Lower your foot down to the floor. Roll your hips back down one vertebrae at a time, and let's switch sides. So you might be wondering, why are we doing all of this kind of activation on the back side of our body? Push down to press up. When I said that front body stretches were our focus today, and they are. In Blissology Yoga, which is the program that I've decided to take my 500 hours through, they talk about the idea that front body stretches are the family of back bends. But when we change our focus from bending the back to stretching and elongating the front, we put less risk of compression into our lower back. Hold this next one up. Lift the leg. And as we know from physical therapists who've said that anywhere between 80 to 90% of the population will have lower back issues at some point in their life, we don't want to increase that. Lower your foot. Roll back down. So by activating these muscles on the back side and understanding this integration, we will be able to get into some of those moves a little bit more. Reach your arms high or long overhead as your feet reach long, and now you're going to have this length in your back. It'll lift off the floor, and I want you to get just a little stretch side to side. Because as you hear me talk about a lot in the world of exercise science and the world of everything, nothing's disconnected. Our body is one big connected unit. And we can't do one thing without in some ways activating others. Let's come back to center. Feet come onto the floor, arms reach overhead. Inhale as you sweep your arms around, bring your elbows beside you. Roll up one vertebrae at a time until we come to this tall seated position. Tuck your chin, roll back down one vertebrae at a time. The lower back should touch right here. And then we come around. Circle the arms. Now, if elbows need to continue touching the floor, please do. Or grab behind your legs as you lift up and lower back down. With this nice focused movement, we come up and down. We start to find that integration of our abdominal muscles. This is a roll up in Pilates, yes? We're not using momentum. If you're finding that momentum is what you're using, take your elbows to the floor, then grab your thighs and come back up. And what do I mean by that? Like, what does it look like if I were to use momentum instead of control and integration of my core? It would look like this. I would circle my arms, I would get to about here, and then I would, boom. I call it the heave. You heave yourself back up, right? And that's not what we want. We're going to go all the way up to the top one more time. Sit sit yourself up really tall. Grab one of your blocks, place it in between your inner thighs, press into it, that same feel we had a moment ago. Hands are gonna come out to the sides. Lengthen your spine as you sit back and lift your legs. I don't talk about it a lot when I do this position, but it's so important that you find that length of the spine, because my students in Metro will appreciate this. Otherwise, it's like a lemon. You put it onto that squeezer and you start to twist and your knuckles hit, and there's lots of ugliness that happens in the lower back. So it's about lifting. Now with your hands out, take a big deep inhale. Exhale, push into the block as you extend away, and then lift up. Breathe. Pull it. Now I'm giving you lots of technique information, right? But our journey today is how you can be bold. So is that meaning that your technique is just a little bit stronger? Or you're doing things just a little differently than you're used to? Come back in, lower the feet, lift up. Bring the block in front of you. Actually have both of them nearby you. And you're gonna flip over to all fours. Hands are underneath our shoulders. Press into the floor as we look into the belly button. And then arch, look up to the sky. Think of this move right here as that same imprint that we were doing on the mat, but now we get to get bigger. Now we get to activate into the mid-back. We get to allow the head to move. And we integrate our arms. There's a lot going on in this, right? Sometimes cat and cow, which is one of my favorite moves, can really become passively done, and we forget about all this integration that we need in the upper body. What is an integrated arm, you ask? It's one where we find the palm arch. So this base part of our hand and all 5 fingers press into the mat so that we arch our hand just a little bit, like you're palming a basketball. When you do that, you press in and your biceps roll in. Neutralize your spine. Walk your hands just a little bit more forward. For me, for this next move, I have to take my knees just a little bit wider to assist me, and you might as well, or you can stay where you are. Take your right hand behind your ear. Lift and look to the side. Now you want to find where you keep your hips squared, you push into the arm that's on the ground to get the rotation. Here's the difference. If I'm not pushing into my arm and I'm pushing, do you see how I get rotation, but my hips are completely over here. I'm not actually using and rotating from where I want us to rotate from. Square, integrated arm rotates from our thoracic spine. Thread this arm through. Touch and reach towards your heel. Come back up. Big, deep inhale. See something behind you, but do that by integrating your arm. Exhale, thread through. One more time. Take a big, deep lift. Push your knees so their hips are square. Bring yourself back to center. Fingertip goes behind the ear. Press into your arm. Rotate and lift. Thread your arm through. For those who've been with me over any time, you've probably heard me mention that I tore a ligament in my neck back in November. And this move right here became one of the hardest things for me to do. because I was losing this thoracic mobility. And my physical therapist has worked a lot with this idea of pushing down into my arm and using my breath to rotate. Notice if you do the same thing. I had every cheat, every go around that I could have. I was like, look, here I am. But then I wasn't actually rotating from my mid-back, I was rotating from my hips. Bring yourself forward. That block, one of them at the moment, is going to come in front of you. Hands on to the outside of the block. Press into the block. So you've got this tension that you are trying to build. And tension is a good thing, but not rigidity. Meaning I don't want you to be like, oh, clenching. I just want you to feel activation. Instead of the word tension, let's use the word activation. I like that a lot more. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the floor. So we activate by pushing into the block. Our heels push to the back of the room. We have this beautiful connection of our upper back. Now we get even a little more by taking the block. It's still in between your hands and you're still pressing in and pulling it back an inch. Did you notice it really wasn't that big of a move? It's not even an inch up. I get that little slide that just forces deeper integration. I now have every muscle in my body activated. Yes? If you're feeling a little shake, then you're doing this right. Bend your knees, sit back, and walk your hands forward as you find this child's pose position. But we are going to have an active child's pose. So your knees come wide, your hands come forward. Find your palm arch. Rotate your palm arch. So what I mean by that, it's like you're trying to take a jar and take the lid off of it. Are you being bold? Are you being willing to change your mindset of what it truly means to move well? Walk your hands to the right side, stack your left hand on top, and then feel as if you're pulling back. So this left hand pulls on the skin of your right hand and sits you back even further. You should notice a stretch into your chest, into your back. And the further over you walk, the deeper that's going to become. Come into center. Exhale, go to the other side. Again, how can you activate? By pressing the top hand in, pulling the skin back, and really feeling that great long length down the back of our body. Come back to center. Roll back up to all fours. Bring the knees back under the hips. Little flow right here. Inhale as you find cat. Exhale, look to the sky. Lovely front body stretch, yes. Inhale, neutralize your spine. Bring your right finger up. Lift and rotate. So how can you find all those cues that I was giving? Now, as we add this flow, take your hand, thread through. Inhale, return to all fours. Lift the other arm. Feel the rotation. Exhale, thread through. Inhale, come to all fours. Walk your hands out so they're on the outsides of your block. Immediately lift your knees, press into the block, and let's pull back. How can you activate? What more can you do to really feel the pull of your elbows back towards your rib cage without lifting your arms off the floor? It's that slide of the block. Big deep inhale. Release your knees. Sit back to child's pose. One inhale. Walk to the right. Press back just for an exhale. Inhale. Walks you to the left. Presses you back on the exhale. Inhale, we come to center. We roll up to all fours. Walk your hands so that you come forward. And you're going to take your thumb and kind of hook it around your block. Okay? Walk your feet back so that you find a plank position. Now, integrate your arms right here. Press down. It's a really kind of cool sensory thing with the block. When I get that palm arch, my thumb now goes, woo, and can feel the block. So do that. Your pointer finger, that second finger, disconnects from the block because your thumb is now there. Big deep inhale. Exhale, lift your hips high to the sky. Downward dog, right? Such a quintessential traditional yoga place. But how can you do it with this focus of integration? Press your arms down, your biceps forward. Feel the lift of your upper back. And now press one knee at a time, one heel at a time down to the mat. If you're an individual who is super bendy, super flexy, as Eoin, my teacher for Blissology, likes to call it, you're a little bit more yin. You might find, and I am not, you might find that your back is massively arching right here to in down dog. How can you pull those muscles in? Find that tip of the pelvis, that long neutrals imprint that we were at very beginning. Change the feel of this move that you do all the time. Heels lower down, heels lift tall. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Press your hands to your shins, lengthen your spine. Exhale, roll down. One vertebrae at a time lifts us up. Inhale, fold. Take your feet just a little bit wider. Lengthen and grab hold of one wrist. As you do that, you're going to push your hips to the side. Feel this beautiful side body stretch. Inhale, come back to center. Lift up, press over. Inhale, come back to center. Hands interlace behind our back. Press your hips forward. Now this is something that I've realized that I have not cued well or done really greatly over the years. You want to think, press your hips forward so that we squeeze our shoulder blades even more and that we get this really lovely stretch along our hips, our upper our upper chest, and then our feet are keeping us solid. That's where your arch comes from, not by staying tall and tipping that pelvis. So pull the pelvis in, then push the hips forward. It's a total different experience. It went from always kind of bothering my lower back to being, oh, I love this feeling. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold over your legs. Lift your chest, press into your shins. Find that long neutral spine. Exhale, your hands come around the block. Step back to your plank. Use the block as sensory. Press in, downward dog. Take your feet so they are wider. Lift your right hand and reach towards your left leg. Now, I really don't care where on your left leg you touch. If you're touching your quad or if you're able to reach your ankle, that's where I want you to be. But you are finding the place where you are still integrated with this arm, and that the rotation comes because we have a great palm arch and a great sense of rotation through the middle of our back. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, lower yourself down to the mat. Right before your chest touches that block, lift up into an up dog. Different, right? I asked you to be much narrower and or less, much higher in the finishing place of your chaturanga. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Tuck your toes, lift up, down dog. Integrate. Be active. Be engaged. If you want to think the word tension, think it. But again, remember, it's not about being rigid. It's about being active. Walk your feet to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, press and halfway lift. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Feet just a little wider as you exhale, lengthen over to the side. You know, I have dedicated my life at this point to understanding human movement. I have way more certifications. I've got upper level degrees in human movement, reach up high, and I'm still learning every day. I'm still finding new ways to express our body, because the human body is so amazing. It does things that we just are not consciously aware of on a daily basis. Inhale. Exhale. Wrap around. Step back. Press into the palm arch. So as I'm challenging you to do things a little bit differently, know that we're all constantly learning. We're learning our bodies as they age. We're learning our science as we get a little wiser into the body. Exhale, downward dog. And we're learning that being bold doesn't always mean that we are jumping all over the place. Take your left hand, reach to the outside of your right leg. Press down into the hand on the floor. Remember, it's palm arch, so you are integrated through that arm. You get that twist. I actually really hate the word twist as well. I like the word rotation, because twist to me sounds like you're trying to juice an orange. Come back into center. Find this long line. Inhale. Now lower yourself down. Again, right before you touch that block, you lift up. By doing that, we're keeping our body in our integrated core. A long line from head to toe. Push into your hands. Lift your sternum. Imagine someone right here was to take your sternum and go, whoo, pull it up higher. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale as we lift our heels and walk our feet to the front. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale, halfway rise. We're going to do that one breath to movement. So now we have to really think, how do we keep the activation and the integration when we're moving faster? Let's do it. Inhale, rise to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms come up. Grab your right wrist. Lengthen to the side as you exhale. Feel the press out. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Are you being bold? Inhale. Hands come behind your back. Press down with your hands as your hips press forward. And your sternum shines to the sky. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise, long neutral spine. Exhale, hands around the block. Step back to plank. Rotate your biceps, down dog. Right hand, left leg. Rotate as you inhale. Stay for an exhale. Get a little more twist. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale as you come down to the mat. Right before you touch, engage the back of your body to lift you. Again, don't crunch the back, just lift the sternum. Toes tuck, down dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, step or jump. One last time. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Use this opportunity to find and connect to your body. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, left wrist, grab it, stretch to the side. Inhale. Exhale, press and reach. Inhale, lift, hands around your back. Press down, hips forward. Oh, such a lovely chest expansion. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway rise. Life should be about living pain-free. Fold over, step back. Inhale. Exhale. So the more we get in touch with proper movement, take your left hand, reach around, inhale. Exhale, stay. The more we get engaged with that, the deeper our connection becomes and the less possibility for injury. Come forward to plank. That's what it's all about. Lower down. Right before you touch, lift. And as a person who's had 5 orthopedic surgeries, let's avoid injury. And more injuries than I can begin to count. Exhale, downward dog. And it's honestly because I think over the years, while I've learned about the body, I haven't always been in tune with how my body responds. Knowing and realizing that my body is different than your body has become a different experience. Walk your feet to the front of the mat. Lift up halfway, inhale. It's the last halfway lift you're doing today. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Lift your arms high to the sky. Come to standing. You're going to grab one foot. Let's all grab our right foot. Feel this lovely front body stretch, right? Your quad is activated right here. Lift your opposite arm. Bend your standing leg. Press down to go, ooh, I lift it up even higher. Such a beautiful feel. Inhale. Exhale, you're going to lower that foot back down and come into a crescent. Let's all bring our hands to heart center. Actually place them on your hips. Rotate so both your hips come forward. Press this back hip just a little bit more forward. So it's right here. It's this hip flexor that should be feeling the move. Now, hands at heart center. Take your right arm, so the same leg that's back, your arm is gonna push forward. And then your other arm pushes back. And you've got this like, whoa, opposition. Push your heel with your back leg a little further. And then let's rotate, look over that back shoulder. How can you keep that press into the front hip as you rotate, look over your back shoulder. Inhale, lift our arms high to the sky. Press and go a little lower. As you do that, do you feel this oppositional pull from your front heel to your back heel? One's pressing forward, one is pressing back. Exhale as your hands come beside your foot. Actually move that block that's sitting right there. Step back to plank. Now, in one long line, lower all the way down to the floor. All the way down. Touch the floor, and then lengthen your arms forward in front of you. Reach your right arm and left leg. And I want you to think as if they go far away from each other. Lower down. Lift the opposite arm and leg. Now, notice I'm not coming high, right? Because if I did, I would feel pinch into my lower back. For those of you people who are very flexy and you're like, look, Mom, I can do this. That's fine if you're okay knowing that you're putting compression into those lower vertebrae. And since our goal is to not be injured, let's avoid it. So it's about the length from finger to toe versus the height. Come down. You're going to bring your head up onto your left hand. Reach around and grab your right foot, the top of the foot. Press your quad into the ground to get some activation. Push your foot into your hand, and you should be feeling this really ooey gooey, gorgeous quad stretch. Reach your left hand forward now. Push and lift and find your palm arch. Start to press your foot into your hand so that your quad starts to lift off the floor. As you do that, your chest lifts just a little bit. I don't want you to come high. I want you to think length. Lower down. Foot comes down. Hands come under shoulders in one fluid motion. Activate your quads and then push up to plank. Down dog. Lift your heels. Step your feet to the front of the mat. Forward. Roll yourself up as you do. Big, deep inhale. Hands to heart center. You might be feeling a little bit of strength in your back. If you're feeling crunchy or pinchy, I want you to kind of relax on this next little series. All right, let's start off. Grab your foot. Quad. Lengthen and lift your hand to the sky. Bend your standing leg. Bend, 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 and then lengthen up high so you get activation into your foot. Slide your back foot into crescent. Start with hands on hips. Rotate your hips forward. Find that neutral pelvis. Remember the rocking that we found? Again, if you are really yin, meaning you're arching into that, you don't have this tuck of the pelvis. It's what we in the exercise science world like to call lordosis. It's that tip, and you're not activating. All right, hands at heart center. Take your left hand, push it forward. Push your opposite heel or your left heel back. Take your right hand, press it back. and then look and rotate over that shoulder. But we have to lift to rotate, because otherwise we don't, right? Use your breath to find your rotation. Inhale, come back to center. Find your neutral spine. Press your hip forward. Hands come down around your foot. Step back to plank. Hold your plank. Activate those integrated arms as you lower down to the mat all the way. Take your right hand, rest your forehead on it, then bend your left knee and let's grab the top of your foot. When I was a runner, this was the most painful position for me because my quads were so tight, always. And I still have really quite tight quads because they're massive. And these are what those of us, as Eoin calls it, are more yang people, are people who hold a little bit more strength, a little bit more tightness. And therefore, we need to find the ways to do it and not hurt our knees and hurt our joints. Lengthen a hand forward, which might mean that pushing your foot into your hand and lifting your quad off the floor is not a viable option for you. That might put extra pressure into your knees because those muscles on the front of your leg are so tight. And if that's the case, it's okay. You find the version that is right for you. Lower your leg. Let's bring our knees in, and you're just going to do this windshield wiper, side to side. Bring our feet to the floor, toes tucked under, hands under our shoulders. Press the heels back, which activates your quads, and lift up. Exhale, downward dog. This is your last downward dog for the day. Find a way to feel the lift of the hip, the pelvis in the proper alignment. The heels in their place, actively reaching towards the ground. It's very rare for people to properly be able to get heels to the ground with activation because our Achilles and our calves are so tight. Inhale, lift your heels, walk your feet to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Step your right foot back. You're in this low, deep lunge. Bring your hands behind your back as you lift up. We're gonna press our hands down. Now, do you remember how we've been doing that press of the hips forward to get your back bend? Same feel. It's gonna be this hip. It's gonna start to push forward. As you do that, your hands reach towards your knee. If it feels better and if you want to be down here with your knee on the ground to take away that instability of being lifted, please do. But find the lift of the sternum. So I'm going to pull you back and up. Hands come forward. Now we reach, we get this long pull, as if I'm going to reach those legs away from you, or those arms away from you, and the hip back. You're going to pull in, get this arch. Exhale, push away. Again, pull in, elbows to the side of your body. Exhale, push. One more time, get this great integration. We have just a small amount of movement. Exhale. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, step your foot in. You're going to grab the inside of your foot. My favorite balance position and real great front body stretch is dancer. You're going to have your thumb and your big toe touching. Press your foot into your hand. That's what starts to get the lift of the leg. We start to get this little lean forward as we have this circle going on. Now, am I a perfect circle? Oh my goodness, no. And it partly has to do with the anatomy of my spine. Like, I have spine that's just not necessarily going to get that super uber bendy, and that's okay. Bend your knee of the standing leg. Push down to go up. But if you're pushing your foot into your hand, you should gain this beautiful stretch right here on your shoulder and your chest. And let's focus more on that than how bendy your back is. Come back in. Big, deep inhale. Exhale, forward over, excuse me. Just hang for a moment. Maybe your feet come wider. You shift side to side. Settle in center. Step your left foot back. Feel that into your hip flexor. Yes. We lift ourselves up. Again, think, push the hip forward as your back heel presses back. I was a sprinter in high school, and we would be in blocks, and I'd be in this type of position, right? Actually, it was here. But that foot, I had to press back into the block in order to give me that go power, that strength. And that's the same feel you should have right here. Interlace your hands, press the hip forward as we start to look to the sky. With those shoulder blades pinched together, or reaching towards each other. Let's use that cue. Reaching towards each other. We lift our sternum to the sky. Bring our hands up. Reach forward. Feel that length from the top of your head, out your hands. Inhale, pull in. Exhale, push away. Inhale. Exhale, push. Pull in. You find that length. Exhale. Inhale as we step our back foot in. Grab hold. As we stand tall for this last beautiful moment to find your dancer. Big toe, thumb touching. Press your foot into your hand as you start to lift your leg. As you do, you might start to tip forward and your hand starts to lift. Bend your knee back in. Beautiful, guys. Big, deep inhale. Lift your arms high to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Hang. Rock from side to side. Bend your knees and make your way down to a seated position. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. It may feel really nice to bring blocks under your knees. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. It becomes a very passive stretch, which in some moments and sometimes is great. If you are an individual who's really tight in your hips, and you're noticing that your knees are really high, take your feet a little further apart and take them a little more away from you. Press your hands down into the floor and start to lift your chest. Now, I will be honest, I am very fortunate in this cobbler's position that I can press my knees pretty far down to the ground. This is one I've always had since I was a kid. But how do I make it more? How do I get deeper into this? Because I can sit like this all day, and some days I do. I can grab blocks behind me, one on each side. I push my hands into those blocks, and I start to lift my chest. Now, I could also do that with my hands on the ground, but if you notice the difference, I'm going to show you something. Here's me with my hands on the ground, okay? And I start to push up. Notice my back, okay? With the blocks, hands on them, I push down. Notice my back. It's that cranking into my lower back, lordosis, versus a lift of my sternum. It's all about the lift. Big deep inhale. Now let's all walk our hands forward with that long neutral spine. If you find a moment where you start to round, you stop. So for me, about right here feels really gooey, fabulous. Cobbler got placed in today's class per request. I love requests. So if you ever have anything that you want to see, do, experience in a class, please let me know. I'm here for y'all. I mean, I have things that I like and I have plans, but can I add something in? Oh my goodness, yes. Lift up, as long as it's safe and effective. Let's take our blocks. One at a lower height, one at kind of a mid-height. We're going to take our body and lay the mid-back on the lower block and rest your head on the upper block. Instead of being like arch all the way over, I want us to be in this place where we're supported. Oh my goodness, my ponytail. Where we're supported. Our arms open out to the sides. And we breathe. Think about that tipping of the pelvis. Are you excessively pressing back, or are you finding what in this place would be that imprint? If you stick around to the very end, I'll show you something a little deeper with what I mean by that. But for now, shut your eyes and relax. Bring your hands by your sides. Slowly roll yourself up. Take the blocks out from under you. Roll down. Take one block, place it under your hips. Her body is relaxed down. This is called supported bridge. Her lower back is just that, supported by the block. This might be the lovely place that you would like to finish. Or maybe you want to take your legs, reach them up to the ceiling, do what's called legs up the wall, minus the wall. Find what brings you calm. If your feet are on the floor, it might feel nice to let your knees fall in. Lift your hips up to the sky. If your feet were lifted off, or if you were in legs up the wall, bring the feet down first. Let your knees fall to one side. Notice how your body feels. Where does it feel compared to the very first time that we did this today? No judgment. It should feel different. Coming over to the other side. Bring your legs back to center. Extend your legs long. Give yourself this really luxurious pull from head to toe. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself this really great gratitude. Thank you. Roll to one side. Push yourself to seated. Let's finish this tall seated position. Your eyes open or closed. At the very beginning today, I asked you, what did it mean to be bold? What does it mean to have boldness in movement exploration? And I hope throughout today, as I gave you all these different ways to rethink places that we're at all the time in yoga, you were willing to take a journey of boldness, to become free from the constraints that typically hold us back, and to remember that freedom lies in being bold. Until next time, guys, I'm Summer. Thank you. I said if you stuck around, I'd show you one thing. So at the very beginning of class, we were finding this imprint, right? This like tick top of your pelvis, rolling forward and backwards. And I love that from the world of Pilates. It really translates into real standing bliss. So if you think about it, when I was tipping my pelvis forward, it means that my back, there we go, I'm gonna put my arms right there. Let's see how you can see me. I'm gonna come closer. There we go. It means that my back was starting to do this, right? When I was imprinting, it meant my back was doing this, that my hips were pushing forward. If you think about that was where I was asking you to be right here. Now, do you want to stand in either of those in your natural daily life? No, because this, also known as lordosis in anatomy world, or as I like to oftentimes call it, is the look at me booty, right? That's going to put lots of pressure into that lower back. The imprint, that tuck, or as we call it in the exercise science world, is flat back. That means that we have excessive pull and lengthen these hamstrings, or hamstrings, hip flexors, and look how I'm standing, right? I sometimes think of that like that creepy grandpa. We gotta have the in-between. We have to find that neutral of where we have a little bit of curve in our back, but that we're not excessive or too low. Okay, just something to think about as you kind of go through daily life. If you notice yourself starting to stick that booty out, it's going to probably transition and transfer into those poses. I did nothing. I changed absolutely nothing. This is the same as this. Notice the difference of, ooh. So now, let me show you here again. This is this. I changed nothing. I'm here. Boom. That's that. Push the hip flexor forward. Awesome, guys. I have some exciting things that I am working on to show you lots of technique flaws, as I oftentimes call them. So stay tuned for something coming in the near future. Bye, guys.